Enhancing primary school pupils' learning on simple past tense. Please welcome.
Hello. All right, okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Patrick from Sekolah Kebangsaan Long Busang, a very rural area in Sarawak State. Okay, it's a Pedalaman School, Pedalaman 3. All right, so I hope you will enjoy my presentation this afternoon. So as you can see on the slide, the title of my presentation will be MyTT, or Enhancing Primary School Pupils' Learning on Simple Past Tense. So before I going further, I would love to introduce to you the keywords of this study. So there are 6 keywords, as you can see on the slides. The first one is effectiveness and usability, which means we are going to look at the effectiveness and the usability of this MyTT at enhancing primary school learning on simple past tense. Number 2 is the MyTT itself. Number 3, we are going to look at the rural primary school context. And next one is on simple past tense. And number 5 on simple sentence level, which means the pupils are going to use this simple past tense at simple sentence level. And last but not least, we're going to look at teaching and learning. So all these keywords, we are going to relate it and to see the effectiveness and usability of this MyTT at enhancing pupils' learning at simple past tense. So we look at the problem statement. What inspired me to create this MyTT? Okay, so throughout a duration of 4 months of teaching English at this school for 24 primary 4 pupils, this is after MCO, okay, so I realized that the people were having some grammar learning issue which have affected their learning on simple past tense. All right, so 2 major reasons I have identified. The first one is the interference of their mother tongue. Okay, I'm teaching Kenyah pupils somewhere in Belaga district, Sarawak. It's a very far place. The nearest airport is 8 hours, 5 hours off-road. All right? Okay, and the second reason is there are lack of vocabulary. They speak a lot of Kenyah language in the class. I have to learn Kenyah in order to be able them to understand what am I talking in the class. If not, then I'm talking for like nothing. Okay, apart from that, very little of them know the grammar rules. Okay, whether it's inductively teaching or deductively teaching to them previously by their previous teacher. I'm not so sure about that, but they are very lack of vocabulary on action verb as well, not only the grammar rules. And last but not least, I'm looking at their classroom-based assessment. All right, so based on their classroom-based assessment, or in Bahasa Melayu, we call it as PPD, okay, when they were in primary 3 in year 2021, a lot of them, 13 of them, they are still in level 1 and 2 of their performance level, which is not that good. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so I hope you can see the words there. Right, sorry, it's very colorful because I love color. All right, for the literature review, as you can see on the slide, in front there, learning English language requires the learners to acquire a prime knowledge of English grammar, because this knowledge adds a dimension to one understanding of grammar, enable them to evaluate the grammar rules. This is by Clemmer, Scholes and Verb 2013. And take control the manner in which words are placed together. We are learning the structure in the sentence. Our kids although they are still in primary school, they have to know the structure of the sentence, which we call it as the grammar. We have the subject, we have the pronoun, we have the verb, we have the complement, or in short, we call it as SVA, subject-verb agreement. Okay, next, we look at Chitravelu and Chun. They said that grammar knowledge enables the language learners to organize words. Again, it goes to the structure, and grammar cannot go away when we are learning English, including our young learners in primary school. All right, and then next we look at Marcia, Brinton, and Snow 2014. They claim that grammar is used purposely to make meaning, whether it's in communicative learning or we ask our students to write it. Grammar help us to make meaning of what we are trying to convey, whether teacher to students or student to the teacher. All right, for example, I ate a piece of cake yesterday. So it shows that I ate a cake yesterday. But if I say I'm eating a cake now, meaning that you are doing it now. So that's grammar come from. All right, so I ate is a simple past tense for the verb eat. Okay, next one. The order of the elements such as the subject, verb, and complement. This is the SVA come from, the structure of the sentence. Okay, so obviously there are many studies have been done related to the importance of grammar, not only for the teacher itself, but for our young learners in primary school classroom. So we look at the objective of this study. I've underlined 3. The first one is to identify the effectiveness of MyTT. The second one is to identify pupil perception. How do people think about this MyTT? And the usage of MyTT to learn simple past tense. And last but not least, number 3, to identify pupil perception toward the usage of MyTT by their teacher, which is by me, myself. All right, so next slide, please. Okay, thank you. All right, so we look at the methodology. All right, since this is an action research, so we are going to go it one by one. So the research design is the practical action research design by Mills 2011. So I have pre-test and post-test and questionnaire. I know this is an action research, but I go it in depth. All right, so that we can explore, we can identify the effectiveness of MyTT. Oh, before I forget, MyTT is a template actually, which I designed purposely for my kids. I will show you at the end of this presentation. All right, the respondent, I don't think we have to go for the actual research model. All right, we skip, we go straight away to the respondent. So my respondent were 24 primary 4 pupils, 10 years old, Malaysian context, in a rural primary school in Belaga District, Sarawak, Malaysia. All these 24 respondents, 10 of them are males and 14 of them are females, are from Orang Ulu community, and their mother tongue are Kenyah and Penang. All right, they're barely speaking English. The first time I came there, they was like, wow, something like that. Okay, they don't understand. But there are a few of them very good in English. I'm so surprised they can answer my question. Okay, all of them were studying in the same class, and they were being taught by the same English teacher, which is me. Okay, the instrument, of course, the MyTT itself, all right, and the questionnaire. Questionnaire, there are 3 parts. Okay, part A is for the demographic profile. I collect the information. And part B is for the first, objective of this research, okay, which is to collect data on respondent level of perceptions to this MyTT, okay, for them to learn simple past tense. And the third one is to collect information, to collect data actually, okay, on how they see the teachers using MyTT to teach them on simple past tense. Okay, so all of them need to answer the questionnaire at the end of the of this study. Meanwhile, the MyTT, they are going to answer it on the pre-test and post-test. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this is the flow, the process. All right, MyTT and the questionnaire were designed and developed. All right, so I designed MyTT based on the grammar rules for MyTT. All right, the very simple one because we are just want to test them on simple past tense only. All right, so after a series of teaching on this grammar item, which is the simple past tense itself, the teacher, in the context of this study, me myself as the researcher, okay, with this, I distributed this MyTT to the respondent to be completed. All right, there were a list of verb which cover the regular verb and irregular verb. You will look at it after this. Okay, and next one, the teacher then collected the MyTT from the respondent to be checked. All right, we are not going quantitatively, we are not going qualitatively, but we're just going it quantitatively. Okay, all right, we're just going to look at how many sentences they can write it correctly. All right, and then a list of grammar errors was found and noted. And next one, the teacher conducted another series of grammar teaching, okay, because we want to improve, okay, we want to let the student know what are the errors they have made. Okay, next, we distribute again MyTT, which I conducted it in the post-test level, and the respondent answered the questionnaire, then we do the data analysis. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so these are the findings on the usage of MyTT in pre-test and post-test. This is to answer the first research objective. Okay, so range of mean score and descriptors in table 1 will help us, including me. Okay, we can refer it closely to discuss the level of effectiveness of MyTT in this study. All right, so I give you time to look at it. All right, so we have the range of mean score and we have the descriptors. I go by mean score because this is an action research, so we do it simple. All right, so we have value 0 to 0.19, which is weak, 0.2 to 0.39, less effective, 0.4 to 0.59, moderate, 0.6 to 0.79 is effective, and 0.8 to 1.0 is very effective. Okay, next slide, please. All right. Okay, so these are the verb. Okay, these are the verb which I have listed for my kids, year 4 student. So there are 5 regular verb: close, cook, play, fry, and jog. And irregular verbs were eat and cut. So there are keys there: rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3, rule number 4, rule number 5, 6, and 7. Honestly, surprisingly, my kids, they are able to remember the rules every time I present them the verb. Mister, this verb apply this rule, rule number 1, this rule. What is the rule? They can state it to me again. So I'm so surprised. So I may say that my action research using this MyTT is a success at my school. All right? Okay, and then we look at table 3, frequency, percentage, and mean of correct sentences in negative statement. Yes, we do have the positive statement in English. Okay, we have negative statement. So very, very simple negative statement. For simple past tense, we just add did not. All right? Okay, the rules are presented there. All right, give you some time to look at it. All right? The easiest rule to be remembered, of course, rule number 1, add D to the root word verb that end with a vowel E. All right? Okay, so as we can see on the slide itself, all right, so the verb close, cook, and play. Okay, it came out with the quite high mean score. Okay, this is probably to the reason that this verb apply the easiest grammar rules in this MyTT. Okay, meanwhile, the verb like fried, jog, and eat, my kids, they wrote it wrongly. Fried, they spell it as F-R-Y-E-D, fried. Jog, jogger, J-O-G-E-D, and eat it. Okay, a few of them, they write it eat it rather than ate. Okay, so meaning that they are not aware of the grammar rule provided in the ITT. Not all, but a few of them. Okay, next slide, please. Previous slide. previously. Okay, we look at table number 3. Okay, we look at table number 3, which is the negative statement. So the numbers of sentences are almost similar. So a reasonable justification, because they did not need to change the form of root word verb. They just have to add on did not. Very simple for them. So this MyTT actually is very useful, not only for primary school, I suppose, but for secondary school, especially for the low achiever pupils. So the teachers, you can use this MyTT. You can do an adaptation from MyTT. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. Okay, so we look at table number 4. Table number 4 and table number 5 are the verb which I use in past tense. So the regular verbs were bake, water, enjoy, carry, hug. And the irregular verbs were make and hit. All right. So we look at rule number 2 and rule number 3 in positive statement. Okay, there were 16 pupils able to apply these rules. So a logical explanation, because it's just needed the pupils to add the suffixes ed and d to the verb, like watered, played, easy for them to remember. All right, and then the best justification for the verb make, because make can be used in 2 ways. Either they are making something, like they are making food, making sandwich, and other thing because they are producing something. They make a kite. I make a kite. Okay, yes, for this MyTT, I forgot to mention, the kids should be able to know what are the subject pronouns. Okay, we have I, it, he, she, you, they, we. You can be used twice, you for singular and you for plural. All right, very primary school kind of thing. But I'm sure you are very interested to use it if you started using it later on. Okay, verb hug, again, verb hug. Okay, the regular verb, because the student need to repeat the final consonant before they add the ed. Okay, a few of them, they quite blur, no, not quite blur, quite confused of the grammar rules. All right, maybe it's quite complex for them. Okay, so overall, the mean score 0.65 in the post days. Can we look back at the previous slide? And 0.48. So there was an increment, okay, between the post test and the pre-test of using MyTT. So I may say that the increment in mean score 0.17, the difference, illuminated that there was an improvement in pupil sentence writing performance by using MyTenses table. Next slide, please. Okay, so here we have the findings on pupil perception toward the usage of MyTT to learn simple past tense. Okay, covered 2 on how they use this MyTT and on how they see their teacher using this MyTT. Okay, so since this MyTT focus only on simple past tense, so the students are able to write only 4 sentences only. 2 for positive statement and 2 for negative statement. So actually it gives the opportunity for the student to write 4 sentences by using only 1 verb, which is, it can enrich students' vocabulary actually. All right, okay, next one is, we look at the screen. So item number 7, item number 11, item number 13. These items denoted quite a high mean score, okay, which show positive response from the pupils. They like using MyTT, okay, because it is easy and they found it as it is useful for them to use. Okay, and then I have found one issue regarding the usage of MyTT, which is the students' confident to use MyTT to write sentences, whether it is in written form or whether it is when they are about to discuss or about to say aloud their sentence to the teacher. All right, but they share similar thought. Okay, they have thought that MyTT is easy to use, although they have confident issue, which is good. All right, and then I would like to add on. If we look at item number 11, okay, item number 11 in table 7, the teacher encouraged me to explain and justify my sentences in order to increase understanding. This is where grammar-based justification come from. I do believe strongly when teacher apply grammar-based justification, I know it's primary school, but yes, you can do that. Trust me, your student will be able to understand the grammar itself, the structures of the sentence. They will be able to do that. And yes, teacher, you need to give immediate feedback to your kids, all right, so that they are aware of the error they are doing. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so here are the conclusion for the findings of pupil perception to the usage of MyTT to learn simple past tense. All right, including student perception on how they use MyTT and student perception on how their teachers are using MyTT. Okay, so table 8, I have created there the distributions of pupil perception toward both of the usage of MyTT to learn simple past tense and the usage of MyTT by the teacher to teach simple past tense. We have the range of mean score there, 0 to 0.99, which the descriptor shows negative, 1 to 1.99, low moderate, 2 to 2.99, high moderate, and 3 to 4.00 is positive. So table 9, as you can see there, pupil perception toward the usage of MyTT to learn simple past tense. So the sum of mean score, 46.67, and the overall mean is 3.11. It shows that positive response. Same goes to table 10, pupil perception toward the usage of MyTT by teachers to teach simple past tense also show positive response. All right, so the finding of this study, it reveals that, okay, pupils have positive perception, they have positive attitude. I know there's some issues in their confidence level, but it's fine. We are going to teach them continuously using this MyTT. Okay, in line with the previous research, motivating young learners to learn English is one of the challenges. Yes, I do believe every teacher faces that, including me. Okay, we try to motivate our kids to use English communicatively in the class, not only in written form. All right, okay, so the conclusion, MyTT is one of the intervention, I believe, that a language teacher can come up with, and now you can use it. The finding shows that the people in this study have positive perceptions, and the overall mean denoted in table 2, 3, 4, and 5, as you can see just now, prove that this MyTT was an effective writing template. All right, and the finding, the recommendation, yes, I do have some recommendation because this is an action research. In order to ensure this MyTT is being exploited to the fullest, the language teacher need to provide sufficient guidance. Okay, like I said just now, you have to ensure your student know what are the subject pronouns, the verb, the SVA, the complement. Provide them with the simple sentence complement. Okay, the people should be given ample time to do writing drilling, which is in the class itself. And the focus of writing should be placed more on the suitability of the language. I mean the vocabulary, all right, the word that you use with your student. The language should be appropriate for a particular context. For example, if you're teaching fruits, then your sentence is about fruits. And the difficulty level of language can be increased throughout the writing practices. All right, so this is the template for positive statement. Okay, sorry, yeah. Okay, so we have the rules for regular verb and irregular verb. There's a note down there. The simple past tense verb does not change in form. Its form in singular and plural form, except for verb to be, was, and were, which is and are. All right. Okay. Previous slide. I also provide my kid with the structure so they can take, they might want to use subject pronoun or they might want to use a subject. All right, they have singular and plural, which refer to the subject itself. And next slide, please. Okay, so this is the MyTT for negative statement. Very easy, they just have to add did not. Okay, we are trying to teach our kid to use language at simple sentence level. They can write. Once they can write, they can talk about it. They can say it out. Actually, the kids are saying out the sentence early before they can write the sentence because they are talking to themselves. They are talking to their friends. They are constructing the sentences verbally just before they can write it down on this template. All right. Okay. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. Now I open for question if there's any question.